Hey everyone, it's Dinah, and we are back with more Stranger Things Season 4, this time on to episode number 2. We had a strong season opener, a pretty strong introduction to the season, with everyone, pretty much all the key characters returning and introducing different kind of key plot points that will likely evolve and even diverge into darker and more dramatic things too. So that's cool. We opened up with a flashback, actually, a flashback from 1979 that showed 11 supposedly massacring Hawkins' lab and like killing a bunch of scientists and security guards and even some of the kids there too. And apparently, leading right into her potentially having attacked Brenner as well. So that kind of raised some questions as to whether it could be like a flashback, like an actual flashback into the history of the timeline, or some other kind of like personal theory being like an alternate universe or something. But either way, it's a question that will hopefully be answered later on down the line. So that was fun, and then flash forward back to the present, which is March 21st, 1986, and we see the buyers are in California, and Jonathan is smoking pot with his buddy Argyle and making wooden stuff in carpentry class or whatever it is, and he's also waiting for an acceptance letter from college, so he's moving on with his life. And then Will and Jane, as she's now Jane kind of Hopper, or Jane, but I mean Jane, I think legally speaking still Jane Hopper, but I think still like physically having been adopted into the Byers family and having moved with them, I think she's Jane Hopper. Jane Byers, she's Jane. So there's that. They're both attending high school and not really having the best time, just very very easily and very quickly being picked on by Angela and her posse of very arrogant and very kind of antagonizingly sarcastic little dipshits and everything. So there's that. But yeah, I think she made like a diorama of Hopper and his cabin and everything to showcase him being her personal hero. Like, even though Angela very snidely pointed out that the heroes were meant to be historical famous people. I think historically speaking, you know Hopper is the most relevant person in Jane's life. I think Jane has not had the time, or even the energy to actually, actively research into, like actual social human history and find out who's relevant and who's important and who's this, that, or the other. So I think to her, Hopper being her dad, having fought to save her and having fought to save all the people in Hawkins from the Mind Flayer, he is the most important hero to her. So then she made a diorama about him, and then it just didn't really translate well, and then it was destroyed later by the very same dipshit. So yeah, things didn't go well. And then she even tried to use her powers. She even tried to actually, use like a little force choke, force blast kind of thing on Angela, and it didn't work because she doesn't have her powers anymore, and she also probably hasn't tried in ages either. So yeah, things are not in short, things are not going well for them in California. So there's that, and then I think she's writing back and forth to Mike as well, and actually, I think anxiously awaiting like a visit from him as well, because like his parents were talking about a flight to California and everything. So I think they're getting ready to do like a visit and everything. And of course, I think Mike's parents want to see Joyce as well and see how she's doing. So yeah, and I think she's also working from home. She's remote working now. She's working, I think, as like a telesales marketer for selling encyclopedias and everything. So she's very quick. I think she's very easily managed to find new work and appropriate work and everything. So that's fun. And she also received mail from Russia. She received a big parcel from Russia that had a doll with a encrypted and slightly encoded message. I think had those kind of old timey kind of magazine cutout kind of things with the lettering and everything. But it was a letter informing her that Hopper was in fact alive. And stuff, and I think he was in Russia and he was alive, and he was looking forward to their date, and whoever was writing, I think either someone else writing on behalf of Hopper, or even Hopper trying to be discreet and stuff and writing in the third person and all that kind of stuff. But either way, she contacted Mario about it, and he told her he instructed her on how to actually open the door without potentially actually triggering any kind of booby traps or anything. So then she did, and then she found the letter, and the letter told her Hopper was alive. So right off the get-go, actually kind of establishing that Hopper is still alive and he's hidden elsewhere in the world and everything. So that's fun. So we had them. We met Eddie Munson, I believe his name is Eddie Munson, the kind of D&D kind of hothead in the high school that the kids in Hawkins are now attending to. And he's also the leader of the D&D group. the Hellfire Club, which Lucas I think was kind of technically formerly a member of until he drifted away and went more into basketball and sports and the whole kind of more popular kind of social clique and everything. But then Mike and Dustin were still very very kind of vivid and very very active members of the club, and they needed someone to actually sub in for Lucas, and they eventually landed on Erica. Erica made a very very surprising and very positive return in the season premiere and actually won them the game. I think Lucas won the basketball team their game, and then even Erica actually won the Hellfire group their own campaign, and like she actually defeated the Vecna and everything. So yeah, and the cult of Vecna. I mean I'm pretty sure he meant that was the groups. I think the group. I think the cult of Vecna. I think they were the enemies. I think in the campaign, in their campaign they were playing. I think that was the group. The name of the enemies, the cult of Vecna. So. And I think the Vecna is probably, I think, they're supposed to be the actual monster of this season. Like, season 1 had the Demogorgon, season 2, and I think technically 3 as well, had like the Mind Flayer and everything and stuff, and now we have the Vecna. And I think we've seen the actual upside down manifestation of the Vecna too. I think in Chrissy Cunningham's kind of nightmares and visions and everything, she's been seeing a really kind of grotesque and kind of upside downy looking kind of humanoid kind of figure with claws and moving parts and everything and stuff. So I think that may as well be the Vecna and stuff. So there was that. So Eddie, he's the leader, and he's the leader of the Hellfire Club, and he runs the campaign. So that's cool. But yeah, we met Chrissy Cunningham too, the high school cheerleader. She's the like a member of the cheerleading squad and everything. And I think also presumably the kind of girlfriend of one of the star kind of basketball players too. So got that kind of classic kind of high school romance thing going on. But yeah, Chrissy, she was also like had like a bit of a history and a bit of like a kind of like a softcore kind of friendship going on with Eddie as well. I think mainly because she was actually buying drugs from him and everything. So there was that. But yeah, but I think she had like a history of abuse and like a history of like trauma that came with that abuse and everything, which I think was maybe one of the reasons why she was looking for the drugs and everything to actually kind of ease her visions and ease her nightmares and everything. But then I don't know if she must have had some kind of connection to the Upside Down, or maybe if like her trauma made it easy for the Vecna to actually kind of get into her mind or something. But then she literally went into a trance, and then in her trance she would actively be running through the corridors of her house and even finding her family in all sorts of like horrifying situations, like her mother having a demon face, her brother nowhere to be found, and then her dad having his eyes and nose and mouth sewn shut and everything. And then finally the Vecna caught up to her and presumably killed her. I think right at the very end of the episode, I think she was contorted and distorted and eyeballs popped and everything, and she was just horrible. It was horrifying ending and everything. So really managed to set the tone for what this season might be like going forward and everything. So that was terrifying. But I think easily the saddest part for me, I think we might have just lost Chrissy. So just when we were beginning to get to know her and like her and actually see her as one of the potentially kind of few kind of likable new, or at least one of the likable new characters on the show, they took her away from us. So if that's not classic Stranger Things kind of fashion, then I'm not really sure what is. I mean, it's probably the earliest they've actually taken like a likable character from us too, like right from the get go. But still, probably like the best way to actually really cement just how terrifying like the new kind of enemy might be when they actively can take out like an innocent life just like that. So yeah, it's some scary stuff. So yeah, I think the implications now going forward too. I don't know if they're actually gonna have it like if Eddie's gonna be framed for it or if he's gonna be blamed for it or something. Because then he lives right near Max too, and Max saw Chrissy going into Eddie's trailer, and then all this kind of stuff happened. So I think like no one else can really kind of vouch for his innocence or anything. So I don't know how that whole kind of thing is gonna go. And then the boyfriend is gonna be heartbroken too. So gosh, just Chrissy, you just couldn't keep her alive, could you? You just couldn't keep her alive. She just had to die. So yeah, so that stuff. And speaking of Max too, Max and Lucas broke up too. Max has been going through it ever since Billy died. I think Max has been going through it too. I mean, on the plus side, her stepdad left. He's out of the picture now. But then her mother is grief stricken and just alcoholic as well, and just generally kind of unresponsive too. And then even Max, to top it all off, has been having nightmares and visions and all sorts of other kind of horrible stuff happening to her, so she just hasn't been the best place. And then I think because of that, she broke it off with Lucas and has been having counselling done too, so she's just kind of really in like a really distant and cold kind of place. So God knows how she's gonna get through the season, and especially with all this kind of all the stuff that that was responsible for everything that went down. Making like a re-entry for the for the third time technically, because now it's for the fourth season, so like for the fourth time, the third time even. So yeah, so yeah, so she's been going through it, and I think I think she might have some connection to the stuff going on too, like with the clock in the tree and the walls and everything. So gonna be interesting to see how she ties into it and exactly how much they actually kind of like, maybe if they actually kind of swap it over to her, because I think especially if Chrissy had that trauma going on already, and then that made it, maybe if that was like a reason that the Vecna was in her mind, maybe then if it actually kind of jumps from her and moves over to Max too, because then Max not only has a history of trauma, but then she also has like a trauma directly connected to all the upside down stuff going on, so then that might make her like an even bigger target for the Vecna and everything. So gosh, yeah, it's gonna be just really horrifying to see exactly how this kind of thing takes hold and how it affects people. So yeah. And yeah, then we had some stuff with Steve and Robin too. Steve and Robin just kind of kicking it back and chilling and worrying about girls and everything in slightly different ways too, slightly kind of hazardous compared to the other two. But Steve is just kind of, I think, crushing on probably multiple women and actually kind of having interactions with multiple women too. But then Robin is struggling to even talk to even one, considering the implications of actually doing so as well. Like it's her and Vicky, played by Amy Beth McNulty in the high school kind of marching band and everything. So yeah, she doesn't know if Vicky is like that. So she's kind of having trouble actually deciphering different signals and codes and everything. And then even Tammy Thompson, her first crush, made a comeback too. Tammy Thompson was actually invited from Nashville by the headmaster to actually do some stuff. So yeah, I think. Wait, I said in the last episode, I think that they must have moved high schools or something, or that they actually must have transferred like the kids because they were older. But then now it's like, but then Jonathan and Nancy went to that same school and it was still high school for them. So I don't know. I think last episode I must have actually kind of like misinterpreted it as them moving high schools, or actually them moving to like a different school because it was high school. But then Nancy and Steve and Jonathan all went there too, and they were like seniors and all that kind of crap. So I think I might have got that wrong. I might have actually gotten that detail wrong. So I think they're in the same high school, but then they've literally just aged and they're probably seniors now themselves and everything. So there's that, and there's like similar enough teams and everything. So I don't know. I think probably the same thing. So I'm pretty sure it's still kind of I think, well, wasn't it Hawkins Elementary or something before, like season 1 in the first 3 seasons? Wasn't it Hawkins Elementary or Hawkins Middle or something? I don't know. I can't remember. I think those kind of details are kind of fuzzier in my head. So I'm not entirely too sure. But either way, Robin's on the marching band now, so that's cool. And then she's also getting to know Vicky, who apparently watched Fast Times at Ridgemont High a bunch of times and returned them 3 or 5 times, all kind of time stamped at 53 minutes and 8 seconds or something, which is apparently when boobies, according to Steve Harrington, is when boobies show up on screen and stuff. So that's how Vicky might yeah, like I said, interesting season opener. So who knows what the rest of the season has got in store for us, but there's only one way to find that out. So yeah, all I've really got from the first episode. So on to episode number 2 of Stranger Things season 4. Let's go. Oh gosh, having to relive this scene all over again. I mean, it's different now knowing he's alive, but still, it doesn't make the scene any less traumatic. Oh yeah, and he's pretty unscathed too. Like no burns, nothing. Actually, no injuries besides from the one he got from fighting the Russian. Damn. Just like you'd think there'd be like some smoke or ash on him or something, but nothing. Just nothing. He was just managed to avoid the brunt of the explosion just in time. Vecna's curse. Oh, okay. The cult of Vecna's curse. That shot alone reminds me of her work in All Too Well, the short film. Yeah.
I just found her there.
Oh.
I swear, I don't even know her name. I've never seen her before.
Do I recognize him? Do I recognize Mr. Munson? I feel like I recognize Mr. Munson.
I don't even know how to describe it.
Is the lab listening again?
Never seen
The same
anything
people
like
from season 3? Yeah.
it. Look,
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, buddy. Hey, dude, bro, guy.
Hey,
Oh,
how you doing?
jeez.
Good, man. Are your friends gonna meet us there?
Friends? What friends?
You know, Stacy and Angela.
Angela.
You'll meet them. I promise.
Stacy and... Oh.
To be about me.
No, don't introduce him to Angela. Don't introduce him to Angela or Stacy or them lot. Murray's here. Murray's here too. Did he come on the same flight? No, he can't have. He's already here. Ah, but he's visiting Joyce. He's here to visit Joyce to get a proper look at that letter and help her investigate stuff. Oh.
And it wasn't like a cheap fake laugh either. It was like, it was a real, genuine laugh.
Of course you laugh, Robin. It's my Muppet joke. It's hilarious.
My point is, and everything was just like, it was perfect. But I'm having this problem where it's like my brain is moving faster than my mouth, or rather my mouth is moving faster than my brain. And it's like I'm digging this hole for myself, and I want to stop digging, and I'm trying to stop digging, but I can't. And I'm doing it right now, aren't I?
Yeah, so cute. So cute. God, let her and Vicky get together, please.
Girl of my dreams, but I just can't get the courage to ask her out. Meanwhile, you go on like a million dates, and you have no idea what you want.
Ah. So they need to
combine.
You need to
the
swap
problems will be solved.
confidence levels.
Because I'm
yeah.
alone.
Julie Christie is bonkers hot in this. Like,
Dr.
seriously,
Zhivago.
the most beautiful creature I have ever seen.
Marcel's trailer park, and everyone wants to know the same thing. How can so many tragedies?
I think since Will too, this is easily the most and the darkest they've actually, you know, coordinated the story around a death. Yeah. Since Will, probably this.
Yeah, he's like a super nice guy, but then he's murdering women on the weekend.
He's saying Eddie is like Ted Bundy.
No, I'm saying that, okay, but it doesn't look good for Eddie.
That much is true. It really doesn't look good for Eddie. It really doesn't look good for him. Oh. Oh, he fled the scene. Eddie fled the scene. Oh, so he's not even there then. So that's why the dad found her.
Nothing that weird. Maybe because I don't know, maybe.
Something else killed her.
Something upside downy.
Please to make reservation.
Reservation, not
call
acquaintance. Reservation.
7415. Kind regards, Enzo.
Enzo? Lorenzo. Lorenzo, isn't that the name of the restaurant? Lorenzo or Enzo. That was the name of Enzo was the name of the restaurant. Yeah, Enzo's.
You saw him die, Joyce.
Technically, she didn't. There was no body. There was no body, so she didn't see him die. There was no body, which could lead to incineration. But still, exactly, yeah, could point to incineration.
Because he evaporated.
Oh fuck you, Murray. Just had to, yeah.
You're going to find out who the hell sent you that letter.
But we're doing it my way.
Encrypted. Does he have encrypted radio tech? Encrypted military radio tech or something? Murray has to have that, right? He had a bunch of stuff in his little bunker. Yeah, Hopper's fine. Hopper's alive. So how was he captured then? Who captured him? These are the scientists in the hazard. Oh no, these are the Russians. This is the Russian soldiers. Oh no.
Ты куда собрался, а?
Hop. Hoppity hop hop.
Тащите слона!
Get the elephant. There's an elephant? Probably not a literal one. Maybe a baby elephant. Well, why would baby elephants be used for interrogation? Something else is going on. Oh god. Oh, whoa, putting a breathing tube mask over him? What are they gonna make him breathe? Is this the elephant? Is he the elephant? Oh, the elephant. Oh, he has the strength of an elephant. He can easily crush the... Oh, he can easily squeeze the tube. Hmm.
I don't think Mike's gonna like that you're lying to him. And he doesn't deserve that. And when he finds out, he's gonna be mad.
I asked for vomit green, and I got vomit
Vomit green. That looks very vomity and very green. Now, you don't need to pretend for Mike. He'll get it if you're not, you know, instantly treated well here. He won't like it, but he'll get it. Okay, please just don't run into Angela and Stacy here. That's the last thing you need. And Mike's alone. Will's alone. Will's alone. Dancing and skating by himself. Oh no, Angela and Stacy are here. Oh gosh. Smuggest of smug. Smuggest of smug.
No way, Chrissy doesn't mess with that crap.
Maybe someone talked her into it.
No, she's straight as an arrow. That freak? No. No way.
There's just a lot he doesn't know. There's a lot he doesn't know about.
Did he hurt Chrissy?
Oh gosh, okay, don't know.
Whoa, what are you, my pocket? No,
Jesus God.
What are you doing, man?
Setting up base of operations here.
Base of
A
operations.
base of operations in a video store.
Your new best friend Eddie, you think it's cooler than me because he plays your nerdy game?
I never said that.
Seriously, guys, maybe on a Monday you can.
Don't I know you?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
You do?
You're Fred Benson.
Fred Benson.
You killed that kid last year.
What?
That ugly scar in your face.
Oh God! Oh no! Vision.
It's from that crash.
No. Whoa!
It was an accident.
No! No! It's getting to him.
All the way home instead of calling us. You're a murderer, is what you are. Everyone here knows.
The monster Vecna is getting to him.
Murderer.
The Vecna's getting to him too.
Right there.
What?
Yeah. Fred Benson involved in a car crash. The mystery thickens. So the Vecna is kind of high then around people who have traumas.
It's an acceptance letter to Lenora Community.
That's
Community college. Oh.
I know.
But it's
Maybe
not
you're
where
going to Emerson
Nancy's.
with Nancy.
No.
No.
She just doesn't know it yet. I can't leave my mom and my brother to chase a dream that isn't mine. What was I supposed to do?
Not lie.
Not lie.
Yeah.
Not lie.
Yeah.
So I just told her the truth.
Yes. What is your approach here, man? To just slow motion break up with Nancy?
Palm tree to life.
Go. Ándale.
Yeah,
Ándale.
float your troubles away.
Let's
Float your troubles away.
Go. Got me stressed out. It's not even my
Let's skate, shall we?
No, let's not.
I'll hold on to that.
That's not holding, they're stealing.
Hell, she hasn't been telling you everything.
They're videoing something.
She's lying to you, Mike. What kind of problems?
Bullying problems. Why are they filming? What are they filming? Some kind of prank.
Stay put.
They're gonna drop something on her.
This next song is dedicated to Jane, the local snitch.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh, they're mocking her powers or lack thereof. Oh god, Mike just had the angriest look on his face.
Hey, turn it off.
Sorry, I can't hear you, dude.
Oh no, Mike, just rip the cables out. Just rip a few of the cables out. Especially the power cable, that's a pretty vital one. Oh, not the shake. Not the shake. Oh, jeez. See, that type of shit is stressful. That type of shit is stressful. Oh, it's actually calling to a payphone.
This is Enzo.
Hello,
This is
Enzo?
the Enzo. This is the
Joyce.
thingy, faceless man from Game of Thrones.
And I would like to make a reservation.
Yes.
What kind of deposit?
$40,000.
40,000.
Hopper's trust.
You want me to go to Alaska?
Yes. You give Yuri money, Yuri gets me money, I give him your friend. Simple trade. Your friend is stuck. But you give me money, I make him unstuck. You must trust me.
Well, that wasn't the KGB.
But it wasn't a friend either.
Just a mysterious stranger working inside of Russia with the ability to free Hopper.
He was strong American.
Friendly reminder, he's a police chief from Hawkins.
Видно, что ты никогда не был на Камчатке.
Kamchatka, oh, is Kamchatka worse? Is Kamchatka worse?
Вот я и отправил его в ад.
To hell. Is that what the Demogorgon is? Is Kamchatka where the Demogorgon is? Is that the prison where they're holding the Demogorgon and they feed people to it?
Eddie Munson. He's a part of that freak devil called Hellfire.
Okay,
Cops
they
say
play
Chrissy went to him to
games.
buy drugs.
Drugs?
And they wouldn't even show her parents her face. Look, I don't know
Ah.
what this freak did to Chrissy, but he did something. It's this cult he's in.
Hellfire.
They play board games, you utter dipshits.
It's fantasy. And how exactly is it, you know, all of that, Sinclair?
It's my sister. Yeah, she's like a total nerd.
you know?
Well, shit, I've read the wrong person plays this game. It can warp their mind. Or they confuse fantasy and reality, and innocent people die.
That's because it's filled with action and romance and a little bit of suspense.
So my boyfriend won't like totally puke when I bring it home.
Your boyfriend.
Oh no, oh dear. Oh dearie me. Oh god. No, dearie me. Okay. Better luck next time. Next time. Better luck next time.
Alligator.
Laters, Gators. You'll get there, Stevie. You'll get there, Steven.
I mean, listen, if this Reefer Rick is actually a drug dealer, I guarantee you he's been busted at some point. Means he's in the system.
They all have at least once, right?
Oh, well, somebody has to attend to the customers.
Especially if they're babes, right?
Hey. Okay, I attend to all the customers equally. Babes and non-babes alike.
Take this new one then.
What are you doing?
Oh, I love Robin's jacket and the tie and the shirt thing, yeah. I know she's been wearing it the whole time, but still. Yeah.
Rick Conroy, 16 Candles, Teen Wolf, and Romancing the
Teen
Stone.
Wolf. The movie, of course, yeah.
Cheech and Chong's Up in Smoke.
Ah.
Lipton?
This would be the one?
2121 Holland Road.
That's out by Lover's Lake.
Middle of nowhere.
Great, let's go. Let's hope you get there before former lover boy and his posse does. Yeah, sorry, we're closed. Trying to solve a murder here. You gonna talk to the dog?
Hi, did you see
You're gonna talk to the dog.
Oh, you want to tell us everything?
Nancy, come on, let's get out of here.
Why do I recognize the father? Holy shit, that's Enoch! That's Enoch from S.H.I.E.L.D., I'm pretty sure. That's Joel Stoffer,
Hi.
right?
I'm a friend of Max Mayfield.
I'm pretty sure that's Joel
Over there.
Stoffer. That's Enoch from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Wayne Munson, aren't you?
Wayne
Eddie's
Munson?
uncle?
Oh, he's the uncle. He's the uncle, not the father, not the
I
uncle.
heard.
Oh,
The
yeah,
Like
that's
the gossip.
Joel Stoffer. Yeah, that's
And I'm
Enoch.
not interested in gossiping no more.
Chuck Bailey. I used to work with him. I mean, that guy doesn't know his ass from his elbow. Let me tell your side of the story.
You ever hear the name Victor Creel?
Victor Creel.
Lost his mind. Killed his whole family. Kids and wife. Took their eyes. Cut them right out.
Her eyes were popped. Her eyes were sucked in.
Like that, what's his name? The White Mask. And killed the babysitters.
Oh shit, that's a clock. That's the clock.
Michael Myers.
Michael Myers.
If you ask me, Victor's like that.
Oh shit. Don't tell me we're losing Freddy too. Are we gonna end up losing like one person per episode? Is that how this is gonna go? Just losing one person per episode. That way they don't have to keep all the new characters around. They're just gonna kill one person off. Who's that behind him? That's loads of people behind him. That's loads of people.
Murderer! Murderer!
Calls him a musar.
Musar.
It's slang.
For what?
Trash or garbage.
Huh,
It's like
great
pig hair.
trash.
Often directed at cops.
Cops?
Or guards.
Oh, a guard. Someone working on the inside of the prison. Yeah, is that him?
And Enzo can get him.
He's a guard who can get him out.
Yeah, it's not exactly the Ritz, is it?
Yeah, that's Enzo. He's on the inside.
Maybe Hopper bribed him.
Sounds like Jim, doesn't it?
Would that work with the Russians though? Aren't they meant to be more lenient and strict than American guards?
You were rolling your eyes, you were moping, you were barely talking, you basically sabotaged the whole
Well,
day.
she was lying to you, Mike. And I've been a total third wheel all day. It's been miserable. So sorry if I wasn't smiling.
Yeah, whatever, man.
Mike, come on.
What about us? Meanwhile, Elle has like a book of letters from you.
That's because she's my girlfriend, Will.
And us?
We're friends. We're friends.
Well, we used to be best friends.
Yeah, I was about to say you used to be best friends.
Maybe you should have reached out more. I don't know. But why is this on me? Just find her, okay?
They better give Will some upbeats in the season. They better give him some positive notes in the season story.
You'll just have to cry to your daddy instead. Oh wait, can't do that either.
Okay, that's a harsh one. The dad one, that's a harsh one. What's she gonna do? Whoa, is she gonna hit her with that? Is she gonna hit her with that? Whoa! Oh! Oh, she fully broke her face! Oh, she just with the wheel! Just the wheel! She fully broke her face! Oh, that is right through the skull! That has to be through the skull!
What did you do? What have you done? What?
Oh. Oh my gosh. I mean, I believe in bullies getting their just desserts, but that... Wow, like, I thought she'd go for the stomach or the chest, or like even like a... Just even like a full-on right hook with the fist, but... Skating boots to the face, that... Yeah. Well, Oh, that creak. So you got... Is that like a shovel? No, it's a paddle. It's a paddle. He's got a paddle.
What are you doing? Take the tarp off.
You're so brave, you take the tarp off.
It's not a bad idea, actually poking the top to see if anything's living under there.
I don't find it funny.
Oh! Oh! Eddie! 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 Eddie!
We're on your side.
Come on, Eddie. Come
I
on.
swear on my mother.
And he has one. He has one. He totally has one.
On Dustin's mother.
Yeah, Dustin's mama. Mama Henderson. Oh god, he is shit scared. He is terrified out of his fucking soul.
I want to know what happened.
You won't believe me.
Trust me, they've been through some shit. With a capital
Trust.
S. Yeah. Oh, the car crash. What happened though?
I didn't know what to do, so I ran away.
We don't think you're crazy at all.
Don't bullshit me, man. I know how this sounds.
We're not bullshitting you.
We believe you.
You know how people say Hawkins is cursed? They're not way off.
Bad shit happens here. Strange shit, bad shit. Oh. Oh, this motherfucker's back. The Vecna's back.
I want you to join me.
Oh, is he gonna absorb Fred? Is he gonna absorb Fred too? Is Nancy gonna find Fred and watch him die?
We're under a spell. A curse. Vecna's curse.
Vecna's curse. Oh. Oh, Fred! Fred! Oh, God, that is horrifying.
Who's Vecna? A spellcaster.
Spellcaster.
A dark wizard.
With a dark wizard this time. Demogorgon to Demodogs to now to dark freaking wizards. This absolute motherfuck. So this is how he recharges and shit. It's like he has to be in Creel House. Yeah, he has to be in Creel House. Creel House in the Upside Down. Oh god. Oh good gosh, this is getting bigger and bigger. So yeah, wow, second episode really kicking things up. And I think with the death of Fred, I think we can probably confirm we might just be losing one person per episode with this. I mean, fair enough, they haven't really they haven't introduced that many new characters, but I think for the most part, I feel like more can definitely be down the line. Maybe a couple more can be down the line too. But then of course I think also they might also introduce that. I think it sounds horrible too. I think they introduce them just for the sake of killing them off. But then it's these characters have no plot armor. They're as unfortunate as it is to say it, their only relevance to the story is literally to show off how dangerous and deadly this new creature and this new threat and everything is. So it's necessary. It's evil and it's harmful and it's bad and it hurts, but it's necessary. So yeah. Fred is the newest victim. Fred Benson, the editor of the Hawkins Post with the Hawkins newsletter with Nancy, is the newest victim. And I think They gave him the trauma and the history in this episode that justified him being the next victim of the Vecna and everything. So he was involved in a car accident that killed a kid, that killed like another kid and everything. But then instead of reporting it to anyone, instead of even telling the police about it, he managed to escape and escape with his own life. And he then was too scared to do anything or tell anyone about it, and then he just fled the scene. And then I think the kid presumably made it out later, but then died or something, or didn't make it out and died. But he had that trauma and that guilt hanging over his head too. So I think for the most part, it was the fact that that was his trauma and everything. So yeah, and I think so I've kind of been wondering, like, I think with the Vecna, I feel like it first with Chrissy having her own history of trauma and abuse and everything, but now with Fred having his history of like being involved in like an accident like that, but then having the trauma spawn from the guilt and everything. But I think overall it's just kind of trauma. I think overall it's just trauma. So I think the Vecna attaches itself and actually targets people with trauma, because I think with them they already have that kind of fear factor in their head. It makes them more vulnerable and more open to attack, especially if they're kind of reminded of that fear and everything that, you know, that puts them so on edge and drives them up the wall and everything. Then I think it makes it easier for the Vecna to attach itself and pick them and everything, and it kind of maybe gives the Vecna more power. So maybe that's why it targets that. I think maybe that could be. I think maybe that could be the kind of the reason for targeting them. So it targets people. It targets people who are already vulnerable in some way. But I don't know if maybe like people with trauma itself, like people with trauma themselves might be, there's the very specific targets, or if it's people with like mental health kind of conditions in general, or if it could be something else too. But I think for the most part, I think the trauma makes them easier to target and easier to handle. So yeah, so kind of like Freddy Krueger in a sense, kind of like Freddy Krueger. I think ironic to say it's kind of like Freddy Krueger, because then Robert Englund is also in this. I don't think he's playing the Vecna. I don't think he's playing the Vecna. I think he's actually playing someone else who's actually like a human character. But I think Robert Englund, who actually did play Freddy Krueger way back in the day in those movies, is actually in this season too. So whether he's going to be a good guy or a bad guy or some way in between, we don't know yet. But I think he is definitely in the season, and I think he's definitely kind of been said to be like a pretty important figure in this too. So only time will tell exactly who he might play. Maybe Victor Creel. Maybe Victor Creel, because then he was mentioned and he was said to still be alive and still said to be in like an asylum or something. So I think maybe Victor Creel could be the one. I think him playing like an actual serial killer and him playing like a killer or like a murderer or something could, you know, like he could very easily pull off that kind of a role and pull off that kind of like that form of an evil. So maybe him. But I think it would be cool if he actually did it, like if in some kind of twisted fashion he also did play the Vecna as well, like if he actually did do like some kind of body modeling, or if he did do like the prosthetics and everything for the Vecna, like if he actually did play that, you know, maybe if he played the human form of evil, but then also played the actual twisted upside down form of evil too, and especially because the Vecna has been shown in the Upside Down to be actually kind of like the Vecna's kind of domain in the Upside Down has been shown to be the Upside Down's version of what seems to be Creel House too. It would be like a really kind of twisted kind of parallel too, like in the real world, in the human world, he's Victor Creel, but then in the Upside Down, he's also playing the Vecna as well. So, you know, and the Vecna steals eyes too. Like that's what Victor Creel did. I don't think Victor Creel actually stole the eyes of his family. Like he killed his family and then he actually kind of gouged their eyes out and everything. So, and the Vecna steals eyes too. So it could be interesting, but like maybe the two kind of beings are connected. Maybe the two beings are actually connected. So like Victor Creel and the Vecna are actually kind of similar, maybe in personalities, or maybe in like actual kind of traits and like the way they do things and everything. Like the Vecna actually does, you know, like dismember the bodies through bone snapping, but then the finishing touch is actually taking away the eyes. So maybe I think overall it would just genuinely be cool if Robert Englund played both of those characters. But yeah, I think if there's actually any connection between the two of them, then that would be interesting too. So yeah, Also, like a disclaimer too. I mean, like, you know, Stranger Things has been known to inspire. I mean, the main thing I feel like the main thing Stranger Things inspires itself from is D&D, like it being like the actual fantasy board game that can incorporate horror elements. I mean, again, I've never played D&D, and I know kind of very little about it from the get-go as well, so I don't know exactly like how much of it can be horror related or horror kind of driven or anything. Like, I mean, campaigns can be hugely customized to fit any kind of story or character needs or anything. That much I know, but don't know how much of it is inherently kind of horror driven or thriller or like thriller driven or anything. So. But I think for the most part, I think Stranger Things is kind of pretty kind of strongly and directly tied into D&D themes and D&D kind of character kind of elements and everything. But then also I think I don't know exactly how much I think not sure exactly how much like Stranger Things actually connects to horror movies as well. Like, because horror themes in general can be pretty easy, easy to connect to. Actually, kind of setting up like a killer, because that kind of stuff has been done by other movies and other franchises. But then it's not like an inherent or it's not exclusively available to those things. Like Stranger Things itself can easily set up like a mass murder or like a serial killer, and even create that kind of a character. But then actually give that character like some kind of like a kind of sci-fi fantasy creature kind of parallel as well. So. With this one, I think it's been really interesting. I think so far this season to actually watch, like just how much further they're going with that element of things. Because easily, like these first two episodes so far as well have actually been so much more horrifying and genuinely kind of scary and stuff to actually watch compared to the last 2 seasons, compared to the last 3 seasons. I think season 1 and 2, I feel like we were somewhat grounded. They were I feel like season 1 and 2 were somewhat grounded. I think with season 3 they actually tried to do a bit more world building with showing other other countries. I mean, mainly like pretty much just Russia. But I think with season 3, I feel like they actually kind of like somewhat tried to expand upon the world building a little bit and actually kind of try to like show off the evils a bit more graphically with that one, with the mind flayer and all the stuff going on there. But with this one, I feel like they're definitely kind of going higher and further than ever before with this one too. I mean, no pun intended with the but with this one, I think they're actively kind of chasing down like a story that does kind of showcase like the characters going into like a much kind of darker and much more kind of tense and much more kind of life threatening situation too. Especially with the fact that with this one, I think no one's been able to stop what's happened. I think now we've had like 2 deaths down. Like now we've had 2 deaths on our hands, and no one's been able to stop them, despite having experienced almost exactly the same type of threat before. Like now, fair enough. Now it's been like a year since everything has happened, as I've explained. So now, like people think that everything has died down, but then it's like like the scar tissue from the events themselves are still there too, like in memory and everything. So people. I think now, like you can even see it in like the reactions of like in Max and Dustin and Steve and Robin too, like them like knowing what went down last year, and even Robin being somewhat kind of fairly still recent to this too. I think even she understands like, okay, so it's the same stuff that happened last year, but now it's like tenfold now too, with this new threat, this new monster going around doing the stuff, and even kids dying in like so much more gruesome ways too. And everything. So because with this one, like the bodies are left behind, but then the bodies just look absolutely scarred and demented and everything. Like there were shots of Chrissy's body afterwards too, with her body all broken and bruised and everything, and even her face, just like her jaw like contorted and open wide and everything, and that kind of stuff. So it's just horrifying to see. It's horrifying to look at. And I think like even watching Fred die like that too, and even watching him actually kind of collapse. Like I think we never saw thingy like every single second of Chrissy dying. I think we saw like what we thought was actually like the worst of what was happening to her. But then even with Fred, it's like that finishing move of him actually then losing touch with the Vecna and then actually falling and just going splat on the ground. Was just, yeah, I think even with that one too, I'm pretty sure Fred went higher too, because I think Chrissy died indoors, so then she would only go as high as the ceiling, so then that would be like a much softer and much kind of like close landing. But with Fred, I think he went as high as the Vecna wanted him to, but then he still fell and went splat against like actual kind of against the actual tarmac road and everything. So again, one of the most common ways for them to describe this season back in the promotional days, in like in as non-spoilery of a way as possible, was for them to be like, this season the stakes are higher, the threats are deadly, it's going to be scarier than you've ever seen it before. And now I think with these first episodes, I think because people kept on hearing it over and over again because they couldn't say anything else, people were like, oh great, well I mean, like at that point, like at a certain point, it got to the point where people were just kind of waiting for the season to come out instead of actually having to hear the same thing over and over again. But now that it's out, I think it's like season, the first 2 episodes alone are really kind of digging in and setting in that kind of tone of like, you have not experienced like an actual story like this before. This is going to get darker and deeper than you've ever actually experienced. And if they can, I think, and I trust them to do the story right. I trust them to do the story as, you know, as like scarily as they can possibly do it, and as tensely and as dramatically as they can do it. But then, if they do keep up that pace and everything, then things generally really get higher and more deadlier from here. So I'm excited, but I'm also really freaking nervous. I'm excited, but I'm also super duper nervous to see what else they have in store and exactly what else they might like make our characters go through and everything in order to survive and in order to win, and like, you know, like exactly like how beneficial it will be for them in the long run, solving more and more of this mystery. Because then the more they discover just how deadly the Vecna is and how much harder they're gonna have to fight than ever before to do this. And then season 5, like, they're still at season 5 too. It's not like season 4 is the final season, so season 5 is gonna have to top this. So I think I just like, at some point you also got to question, like, you know, exactly how insane must the people behind this show have to get to, in order to actually kind of pull off these stories too. I think maybe that might be a bit of an exaggeration, because then again, it's like you can easily get like scary stuff in different places and equally scary stuff in different places too. So it's not like a competition. It's not like a contest or like a different kind of thing. But still, it's like a good enough sign that they know exactly what kind of story they want to do for this, and that's why they're also ending it soon enough too, so that they kind of end it at like a good place where they know they've done the best they absolutely can and everything. So yeah, God, this season's gonna be a wild ride. It's gonna be a wild ride. Yeah, so I think then, so yeah, Eddie fled the scene. The crime almost immediately afterwards too, and that changed him. I think one thing I do want to really praise is the actor for Eddie Munson. I really want to praise him, because again, the way he shifted, like, he is two completely different people in episode 1 and episode 2. I think that kind of shift just, whoa, like, you see, like, from episode 1, he's like the actual, the kind of natural kind of leader of the D&D club, that he sees himself as he needs to be, and he wants his group to see him as too. He's that kind of high energy kind of guy, and he has that whole kind of D&D kind of vibe. I really don't know how to describe him, but don't know why my vocabulary just isn't, you know, that's strong enough today. So yeah, but he's that guy. He is one kind of guy in episode 1, but then he's like his behavior, his attitude, his mood after witnessing what he's witnessed, like firsthand, like after getting front row seats to that kind of like a death, he is a completely changed person. In episode 2, he flees the scene and he hides, and he's terrified out of his freaking wits. Like even that scene when they find him in the boat in the actual boathouse or whatever it was and everything. And he's changed, and he's just terrified, and he's scared, and he thinks people are coming to him. He thinks that Steve and the group are there to actually kind of hunt him down or to hurt him or something, which they're not. But then, I still can't remember what his name is. I think the boyfriend, not the late boyfriend, but now the ex-boyfriend of Chrissy, and his group, and then like that guy is also, I mean, fair enough, he's grief-stricken, but then he immediately does kind of jump onto the bandwagon. And not only blaming Eddie, but then also kind of organising like a witch hunt after him, and, you know, kind of swearing to, you know, do to him what he thinks he did to Chrissy and everything. So I think that guy is just kind of off his wits, and even trying to come up with like a pep, like the same kind of pep talk he came up with at the actual basketball pep rally and everything, coming up with a pep talk to try and avenge Chrissy's death or whatever it is. Like, I think it's just like, I feel like at a certain point that whole group needs to actually take several seats and actually just think about what it is they're saying or doing or even thinking. Just think about what they're thinking and everything. So, because I think they want to take it seriously, but then even the way that they go about that too is just like, on the one hand, jumping to conclusions, and then on the other hand, actually not even processing what actually might have gone down, and instead using those conclusions to actually kind of propel their decisions forward even more afterwards. So it's just, I don't know, it's just like on their end it's a whole mess. It's just a whole mess. So there's that. But then with Eddie, he is actively confused and scared and terrified. He doesn't know what to think. He doesn't know what happened, because I think what he saw wasn't normal either. What he saw was not like a normal way for a person to die, and even what he saw happen to Chrissy's body too. Because then they were effectively friends. They knew each other. They were, you know, she trusted him to get her what she wanted and everything. And even then, like, even that being a thing too, like the boyfriend didn't really fully know about Chrissy and her history and what she was into, or like what kind of methods she would resort to, or what kind of routes she would use or anything like that, and who she knew and everything. So he assumed he knew everything about her, and that she was like the good girl that he dated, and dated and all that kind of stuff. So there's like a whole lot going on there. But then with Eddie, yeah, I think he just like that kind of thing happened in his home, and I think he knows deep down too that because it happened in his home and because he, you know, like he can't, you know, like reasonably go to anyone and actually kind of tell them what happened and then still expect to come out the other end kind of unscathed or even understood or anything. So he just flees the scene, and he's too terrified to even actually be in the same area after witnessing what's just happened and everything. So he doesn't know what to think, and just yeah, it's a whole I feel like it might be I also genuinely don't know if I'm saying this because it actually is the first time, or if I'm just saying this because we haven't had Stranger Things in a while, and I haven't watched any Stranger Things stuff in a while. But it does feel like the first time in a long time that I am actually genuinely terrified while watching Stranger Things 2, actually watching these characters die in the way that they're dying, being killed by this new creature, and actually watching the story unfold in the way that it is. Like it's actually written so well too. It's written and paced so well too. So like the writers really, I think again, maybe actually going through. Maybe actually having the kind of the lockdown and stuff happen and actually kind of being put on hold actually allowed them to perfect the story and tweak it and make it make sense and actually kind of craft it in a way that actually kind of made it the way it was today. So like maybe like the original plan didn't include the Vecna at all, and maybe they had like a different plan and it could have easily kind of been so different to what it was, but then they were actually given the time and the space to work and do it properly and do it in a way that they actually kind of did, and you know potentially the same thing development wise for season 5 too. So you know yeah, I mean, again, not in any way to say that the pandemic was a good thing or the lockdown was a good thing, or I mean lockdown arguably yes, but I think the pandemic itself, not to say it was a good thing. Like, you know, again, a lot of harmful and horrible shit has come out of the pandemic, but you know, I think but then you know, like in fairness, a lot of people have turned to entertainment and a lot of different kind of escapist kind of areas too, to actually try and avoid, like to actually deal with the stress and deal with the different kind of issues of the pandemic too. So it's kind of had it's kind of had its sides and everything. So yeah, but now I think with this one, yeah, I think because of that, I think with this we can actually expect a season that not only kind of I think maybe that's also why it feels longer too, because they've actually had more kind of more time to put in more kind of content that actually kind of fits in and doesn't make it feel as rushed and doesn't make it feel kind of as kind of, you know, like everything's actually trying to reach a conclusion. But with this one, it's actually like they're not trying to reach a conclusion. They're just trying to tell a story. They're just trying to tell a story. They're trying to get from point A to point B to point C to point whatever and everything. So Eddie, Eddie fled the scene, and then I think him kind of, and I think him also kind of believing like anyone in his situation would, that what he saw was not normal. So there's no way he could actually reasonably explain this in absolute detail to any person and have them believe him too. But then luckily he's found by the right people, and they believe him, and they even actually tell him a bit of a story of their own that they've experienced like countless times. So yeah, it fits, it works and stuff. So yeah. Thingy, Chrissy's death making the news. I think it made the news so much, like not I guess not so much quicker, but I think so much deeper than I expected it to. Because I personally don't think the story has ever actually kind of treated, like in story, like I don't think that the kind of characters have ever actually treated like a death so like thoroughly and so kind of so in such a widespread fashion since Will's, like, because I think with the Wills it took time too, because then that was a missing persons case turned into a death. That was then the death was only then confirmed when they found the fake body in the river and everything. That happened, but then I think with Barb's death, I think that took time. Barb's death took time, and that took time for a funeral. Like the funeral took fucking ages to get here, and then Benny's death. I think Benny's death was good. I'm pretty sure Benny's death was covered up, right? Or I think it might have been covered up in some way. Or at least I think it was covered up in the case that they I think they didn't fully know who did it, but then they still found the body and they still did some stuff around. But I think Will's one was the only one that was actually televised too. I think Barb's death was actually kind of like a conjoined story with the Hawkins type stuff going on, and the fact that was the leak from Hawkins was what killed Barb, like that fabricated story from Murray and Nancy and Jonathan back in season 2. So in terms of having it being televised, and I think televised to the point where like that news thing, like they even said like that news station thing was actually on all the channels because it was such a big deal that like a Hawkins student was the Hawkins child and a Hawkins student was found dead in like a trailer in Hawkins and everything. So I think it was something that they wanted everyone to know. But then I think it's also like it's also like the point they were driving home, the fact that like even the residents were saying too, like Hawkins is a cursed town. Hawkins is a cursed town. Like everyone, almost everyone there kind of dies of all these different mysterious kind of things in horrifying ways. So Hawkins' lab kind of started off, and now ever since then, ever since Barbara, like even that one woman saying like, you know, ever since that girl, that kid Barb kind of died and everything, like it's all been just one body after another, just one person after another, just kind of dying off, and people losing family members and everything. So yeah, but then I think to see people to see them actually kind of televising like the death of a student that way without even releasing the name too, because then they didn't want to actually rouse suspicion or anything, or do any of that stuff. I think to see it happen like that actually kind of did hit home just how like just how human of a show and how grounded of a show this actually tries to be sometimes and everything. So yeah, it kind of felt like it definitely felt like definitely felt like weirdly new, but then it's like I think we haven't really kind of had anything like this since like season 1 with Will, so I guess that kind of made sense. So yeah. And of course, because Eddie fled the scene, it was his uncle Wayne Munson, who found the body, and Wayne Munson is played by none other than Joel Stoffer, aka Enoch from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I mean, he's probably been in some other stuff too, but I think the thing I know him from most recently and most prominently is as the late Enoch. Enoch, I think, you know, he died on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as Enoch. So yeah, but I think seeing him here, you know, he had like facial hair and he had hair as well. Like on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., he had a clean shaven face and he was bald too. So I think with this one, he had hair, he had a different accent too. Like in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., because he's a chronicom, he speaks very robotically and very monotone and everything. So but with this one, he's an actual human being. He's a human being with like a life and a personality and everything. So he actually has like an accent to him, which is kind of weird to hear, but he pulls it off nicely. He pulls it off very nicely. So yeah, Wayne Munson, played by Joel Stoffer. So good to see him here. Really cool to see him here. So that was really fun. But yeah, he was the one who he told Nancy about the story of Victor Creel, the man that he thinks could have actually done this to Chrissy and everything. And Victor Creel was a guy who went mad and killed his own family in Creel House, presumably in Creel House and everything. And then he killed his family, his wife, daughter, and son. And also he also gouged out their eyes. He also gouged out their eyes and everything. So I think with Chrissy's, one of Chrissy's like, you know, most notable things being the fact that her eyes are gone too. That kind of made Wayne Munson think it could have been him, because I think on the one hand too, like he knows that like I think he also kind of knows that his nephew is into more kind of eccentric and more extravagant, and like he's into things that generally aren't really kind of deemed acceptable or kind of positive in society. So then because of that, he already knows that because of that, the town's already labeling him like a freak and a murderer and a killer and a creep and everything. So he already knows that, but then he knows that regardless of what he's into, regardless of what he does with his friends, Eddie's not a killer. He's not a killer. He's not someone who hurts people. He doesn't actually hurt anyone. I think Eddie himself, he actually fights to have the stuff that he does, and to fight people and fights for people like him to be recognized as, you know, as like normal and to be recognized as actually acceptable and everything. So he would never hurt anyone, and he definitely wouldn't ever hurt Chrissy either. So he knows that. But then also, with the manner in which Chrissy died, he also kind of has his own theories on who could have done this, and his theory points straight to Victor Creel, who also is alive. He also is alive, and he's in like an asylum and everything. So he's not like I think, you know, like no matter how tight security is at Penhurst Asylum where Creel was sent to, I think he probably kind of has a feeling that like he could easily break out, or he could easily kind of get out somehow. So, you know, easily like he could be the culprit kind of doing all this stuff. So yeah, he's the one who spreads the story of Victor Creel. So yeah, and yeah, I think Jonathan got accepted to community college, the same community college that Argyle was going to, but then he's not going to the kind of argue probably more expensive and kind of, you know, more, I don't want to say better, because I think that I'm not sure there's anything really wrong with community college. I think community college is kind of seen as the kind of easier kind of route for everyone to go to. That's actually accessible for everyone, but then it's probably not seen as prestigiously or as kind of, you know, as like importantly or anything as other kind of Ivy League, or I mean Ivy League is like top tier and stuff, but then just in general, you know what I mean. So yeah, so but then his dream, I think, or at least like the agreement that him and Nancy made was that they would both go to the same colleges, or at least try and get into the same colleges and everything. But then no, he said the acceptance letter from, I think he said like Lenore or something, like Lenora Community, which is where Argyle is going. But then he's also like even outside of all the kind of the whatever delights that Argyle is giving him, even outside of the drugs that Argyle is giving him, I think he's kind of genuinely just kind of having kind of concerns and doubts about his time with Nancy and his relationship with Nancy, and he's like he even said like he's tired of trying to chase a dream that isn't his, so maybe he actually does want to do something different with his life, or maybe he does actually want to go in like a different direction with his life. So I'm not even entirely sure what they're gonna end up doing with Nancy and Jonathan in this season. I think, granted, it's only really been 2 episodes, and we haven't really kind of seen we haven't even actually seen them kind of talk or communicate or meet up as of yet. Because I think, again, like he even said, like, to begin with, he was actually anticipating seeing her get off the plane with Mike and going there with him too. The parents didn't even go. I think the parents were probably gonna drive him to the airport to actually take him there, but then the parents didn't go. I think the parents stayed behind. So I think Jonathan even said that like he actually kind of half expected Nancy to go along there and actually going to be there on the plane too, but no, it was just Mike. But then afterwards too, I think he didn't even actually kind of fully feel any kind of sinking or disheartening feeling. He just kind of, he actually kind of felt relieved, like his troubles were floating away. Even that could even thanks to Argyle, that could have been like an actual combination of the drugs and then also kind of Jonathan's kind of genuine relief at not having to deal with like his even more complicated emotions of having his girlfriend actually be there and everything. So yeah, don't know exactly what direction they're going with them in this season, if they're going to keep them together, if they're going to have them split apart, or if they're going to do something or other with them. But I don't know. I think Nancy is already kind of with Jonathan, I think he just doesn't really kind of seem to have much going on besides from this stuff with Argyle and like just kind of hanging out and smoking stuff with Argyle and just being trying to be stress free over his very imminent troubles and everything, because he's been lying to her too. He's been lying that he's still waiting for acceptance and stuff. So no idea what they're gonna do with them too. But I think on the other hand, Nancy has been actively kind of she was actively chasing down the story with Fred in this episode, actively getting something done, actively kind of, I think even with her, I think she knows that her passion and her future lies within journalism. She wants to tell stories, and she wants to tell stories that matter, and actually kind of tell these stories. And even living in a town with so many untold stories and so many stories that get twisted and distorted for society's comfort, I think she season 2 definitely kind of showed off her being willing to go to great lengths to get the truth out there and to actually make people aware of what's really happening and everything. So I think they're definitely going to continuing that streak with this season, actually kind of like, having her kind of chasing down the truth, no matter how hazardous or dangerous it might be, and no matter what lies she has to tell to get into the right places and everything. So she's got direction. Like she still knows where she's going, and she's happy to kind of chase down those leads and be what she needs to be and be who she needs to be. But the thing with Jonathan, he's the one that they've now suddenly turned into a more carefree kind of person who doesn't really know what to do about his love life or his future. I don't think so. I'm not entirely sure what direction they're headed in with him, but I guess we'll see. I guess we shall see. And yeah, I think of course with Mike visiting Elle in California, we had them kind of hanging out for the day and trying to be social and everything, so that was a thing. But yeah, they went to the skating rink. I don't know why she'd lie and say that Angela and Stacy were her friends. I don't know why that lie. Like, why specify them? Just saying she has friends, I feel like would have been enough. I think maybe Mike could have asked for names, and then she can just make up some names and have it be done with that, or even Will could make up some names or something. But I don't know why, like, she specified the people who have actually been tormenting her since her and Will arrived here, why she would even say that they were her friends. I think they have no intention of treating her nicely. They have no intention of being her friends, but then even no intention of actually treating her nicely or decently in general. They are not decent people. They are assholes to one of the highest extents and everything. They just thrive off of misery and pain and all that kind of shit. So I don't know why she would actively try and actually leverage, like, use them to get up into a high position, because then they don't want her to get high. They want to stomp on her. They want to push her and Will. Will, they haven't been doing anything to Will, because I think Will's been kind of staying under the radar and he's been actively avoiding them and everything. But then, for some reason, Jane is the one that they actually kind of see as like the easiest kind of target and everything. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But either way, I think she lied to him, and then even in the letter, even like in the letters that she's been writing, she has been lying to him, saying that she's popular and she's liked by everyone. She has loads of new friends and she's really doing really well and everything. But the entire time, it's been miserable and lonely, and all they have is each other and everything. So But yeah, they then, invited, if you can even use that word loosely, invited her out onto the skating rink and planted her right in the middle, and then had the video camera filming and everything, and then the entire time they were circling her and taunting her and everything until the record scratch came, and then they do the milkshake on her and everything. So just a whole little prank, and everything. So I mean, with the fact that Elle literally does have powers, I just remembered how that part of the episode I had, like how that kind of story part of the episode actually ended. But I was gonna say, like, because she has powers, I'm kind of half expecting that whole story between her and Angela to have like a Carrie type ending where she's covered in blood and she attacks them with her powers and she gives them a taste of her own medicine. But then Elle literally did give them a taste of her own medicine. Like, she literally just grabbed, like, initially she still tried to be diplomatic, she still tried to be reasonable, she still tried to be like, she still tried to ask nicely and everything. But then I think even then, the way she worded it too, I think again she's dealing with someone who literally does not care what she thinks or feels. She's literally dealing with someone who actively takes pleasure in embarrassing her and humiliating her and making her miserable and everything. So it was never going to work. And then I think, but then once she realizes that, she's like, fuck this, fuck the high road, I'm gonna smack that bitch on the nose with a fucking roller skate. And then she does. She actually takes her boot or takes someone else's boot, and then literally just one solid smack to the face, like not even to the nose. I thought she might break her nose or something, or like I didn't know she was gonna grab a boot. I think her grabbing a boot, because then initially I thought, oh, maybe she actually might go after her and actually punch her or something, or hit her or push her or shove her or something non-lethal. But then she grabs a boot and it's like, okay, now she has like an actual something that can be used as an actual weapon in her hand. So then, how badly could this go? So then it's like, wow, she's literally, pretty sure, like, going above the temple here. That's like an actual, even the way it's actually marked in the skin too, and the amount of blood coming out. That's a crack to the skull. That's a full-on crack to the actual skull and everything. And then, that's good. Like, it horrifies everyone around her too. Like, Angela's screaming in pain, and then her friends are shocked and everything. And even Mike and Will come along and they're both shocked and everything. So I think, she no powers at all, just Elle and her raw strength, and just driven by anger and the need to finally end this shit once and for all. And then just one solid smack to the face, and it's just blood and shit everywhere. So yeah, that one was a hard hit. That was a solid hit. And and it feels so weird to say this. I think it just feels so weird to actually say, like, given what kind of hit it was and how damaging it looked, I think it also just wasn't nearly as much blood as I expected it to be. But still, it was like a pretty damaging hit. I think it hit straight nearly to the forehead too. Like, I feel like anywhere else in the head, and that would have been a whole other story. But with that one, I think that also looked more like an injury too. But then without immediate treatment, I feel like that could have gone a whole other way. So yeah, Elle, I think she was angry, driven entirely by anger and misery and everything. And even Angela also, like she's done before, pulling out the dad card too. I think that's driven by grief too, because only Joyce and I don't know why. I think she hasn't seen the kids. I was gonna say, like, I don't know why Joyce hasn't actually told the kids yet that Hopper's alive, but then she hasn't actually seen them. Like, the first person she told is Murray and not Elle, like not even the daughter or anything. So I don't know what's going on there, but still, Elle is still very clearly in the dark about Hopper being alive and stuff in Russia. So she still is under the notion that he's dead and gone forever. So so actually hearing people mock his death and taunt her with his death doesn't bode well either. So I think now we've clearly seen what happens when you fuck around and find out, but specifically with Jane Hopper. Now we know what happens when you fuck around and find out with Jane Hopper. You fuck around with Jane Hopper, then Jane Hopper helps you find out what happens. So yeah, still wow. So yeah, Jane, even without powers, she does not show mercy. She shows no mercy. So that is the mercy. That is pretty much the mercy. So he is, kind of hoping she doesn't die from that. So yeah, But then, of course, Angela and Elle wasn't the only drama we had at the skating rink. There was also Will, too. Will just kind of felt like a third wheel the entire time, and I think he pretty much was, because I think it was only him and Mike and Elle there, and Mike and Elle already in, like, a very, very long established and well-established kind of relationship as well, so he said nothing, he did nothing, he just kind of sat by and watched them be all lovey-dovey with each other, and even actually then also watched as Elle kind of lied to Mike from the beginning, too, actually misleading him about what her life in California was really like and everything. So then ultimately, when he sensed and saw that things were about to turn bad, then he then decided to reveal the truth to Mike and inform him on what was really going on. So yeah, but then I think even with Will, I think again like this season, like first couple of episodes, he's just getting the wrong end of the stick. He's not really like he even said that he even said that like Mike has been writing letters back and forth with Elle kind of all year, but then like barely any phone calls or barely any kind of contact in general from Mike to him, even though they used to be best friends and everything. But now it's like now it's now it's even more on the boat that Mike is actually in a relationship with Elle, and apparently for him that takes more precedence and everything. So then he just has like little to no time for friends, besides from even for him the most friend thing he did was actually for him the most recent thing he did for his friend was actually trying to convince Lucas to ditch the basketball thing, or to postpone the basketball thing, to actually join the D&D thing. Okay, you probably know what I was about to say, and I think I know why. I was about to say why couldn't Will go, but then he was in California, so that would would not work, so that makes sense. But no, but but I think it's in general, like even outside of the D&D stuff, I think in general, thingy Will just kind of feels really kind of isolated, and he had to let all of his friends go. Will had to let all of his friends go, and everything. And but then even before that, even all throughout season 3, he was still kind of feeling sidelined, and he was still feeling like left behind from everything they'd experienced. Like he didn't really kind of have that much left to really kind of remember from his past, besides from all the upside down stuff anyway. So there's that. But then also even once he gets here, Mike's completely infatuated with Al, and he's just barely setting aside any time for Will either. So don't know if they're going to keep that up, or if they're actually going to rectify that with some actual kind of friendship time between the boys, or among the boys and everything. So I guess only time will tell exactly how they treat him. But I'm hoping Will in general just gets treated better. I'm hoping Will gets better, gets better story time, gets better screen time, and he actually gets treated like an actual character instead of I'm hoping that this time he actually gets treated like an actual kind of like an actual person again, as opposed to some kind of conduit for the Upside Down. Because I think for the past 3 seasons, that's most of what we've seen him become. This kind of the kid just goes like this every time something upside downy, anything remotely upside downy is actually kind of happening. He just kind of constantly touches his neck and gets chills and everything. So I'm hoping this time he actually kind of gets to actually do something and be a person, and gets to actually do something relevant to the story now, as opposed to being the upside down conduit and everything. So yeah, here's hoping. And also, I mean, if they want to explore some kind of other connections for him, like things that are more than just platonic for him, then I also wouldn't be fully opposed to that. If they want to give him a girlfriend or a boyfriend, or just a partner in general, then everyone, literally everyone else in this show, or almost everyone else in this show, has relationships. Steve is struggling to find a girlfriend, but he's actively still asking girls out on dates because he's a presumably straight guy and everything. So there's that. And then Robin has that one guy. I think even the way that Robin described Vicky in this episode too, oh, her laugh is so perfect, and then it's she wants to keep talking, and then she does end up to keep talking, but then she can't stop talking, and then she sounds crazy, and it's just it's driving her insane how much she likes Vicky, and it's Vicky is the love of her life, and she wants to get to know her so badly, but then she doesn't know, and all that kind of stuff, the kind of just sending her into a gay panic, or a sapphic shock or something. It's just it's all there. So hopefully Robin and Vicky kind of ends up going somewhere too. It'd be really cool to see them expanding upon that, and actually exploring more of seeing if Vicky really does and everything, so yeah. But then also Will, I think again, people have theorized that Will could be gay, and again, no problem if he is. There's absolutely no problem if he is. You can very easily have more than one queer character on a show, regardless of where or when it's set and everything. So it's not some kind of unchangeable rule that only one queer person at a time or anything like that. So if he wants a boyfriend, give him a boyfriend. If he wants a girlfriend, give him a girlfriend. Just let him be a person for once. Let him be a person. And if he wants something, then give him something. But just give us some give us some Will content that we can appreciate, and doesn't make us kind of fear for the Upside Down constantly any more than we already are this season. So yeah, so Robin and Will, let them find some happiness in this season. Let them find some happiness, and let them kind of have something to turn to that does spark joy. Let them find something that does spark joy in the season. So yeah, give them some Marie Kondo vibes and everything. So yeah, and yeah, then there was the Hopper stuff too. There's the Hopper stuff too. Hopper is in Russia. He was formerly in one place. I don't know if we actually got the name for the place he was in before, but he was being tortured in one place in Russia, and he was being tortured through actual tactics like hitting and punching and that kind of stuff. But then he was also put under the torture tactics of the elephant as well, which is not nearly as as interesting as it sounds. It's more like a guy with probably the strength of an elephant crushing and like squeezing an oxygen tube while Hopper wears the mask and everything as he suffocates and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, but to the point where he did survive it. He did survive it, but then he was barely breathing. He was just barely breathing to the point where, like, if they did it again, then he definitely wouldn't survive. But they need him alive for the information that he potentially has. So yeah, so our first kind of glimpse of Hopper actually being alive too. And I think even the scenes showing how he survived too. Like I'm pretty sure almost everyone theorized that he would survive the way that he did. The fact that he actually jumped off the fact that he actually jumped off the platform and managed to survive before the thing blew up, or maybe he actually jumped through the crack and it threw him into Russia or something. I mean, even though the crack actually does lead to the upside down, like maybe something happened, or that maybe he did actually jump off and everything. So I think he did jump off. Don't know if they deliberately made the explosion happen a lot slower in this scene than they did in the last one, because in the last one I think they made it look damn near impossible for him to have survived, and even then, even the kind of like the actual way, the way that they actually wrote the characters trying to evaluate how his death could have happened or couldn't have happened, like even Joyce being like, she never saw a body, like Murray insisting that she saw her, that she saw him die, but then Joyce being like, there was never a body, so we can't be sure. But then him being like, well, with what the machine does and what it's capable of doing, he could have easily been incinerated or vaporized or something, but like the Russian was. But then the Russian was thrown into the machine, so he had no choice but to die. But with Hopper, he was on a platform, so he could have easily jumped off to avoid any kind of blast, kind of impact or damage, which he did. And also, I think the thing more impressive to me than that is the fact that he didn't seem to suffer any major fall damage, but also he didn't really kind of seem to, suffer any actual blast kind of shock or blast damage like smoke or ashes or anything like that. Like pretty much all the injuries we saw on him even in that scene came from the fight he had with the Russians. So that was like an impressive kind of resistance to any further damage. So yeah. But then afterwards he did climb back up again, and I think there's not really much telling exactly how long after the mall was evacuated and everyone else went home that he managed to climb back up again. But then I think in that finale we did see that like an actual team of scientists. I mean, they were killed. I think they were killed. They were killed because like a team of scientists came in as the machine was exploding. So I think when the machine went off, the thing actually vaporized them. So I think it vaporized them, and then I think people thought, Hopper could have been actually vaporized along with them, but no, I think that team were killed. They were killed. But then afterwards, I think like an actual team of soldiers with that one general dude did come in and actually capture Hopper and everything, and then they took him away. So that's how he survived. So yeah, we waited 3 years. We waited like 3-4 years to actually find out that that Hopper survived literally just by running and jumping off the platform, which is what most people kind of figured. What most people figured anyway. So I think for the most part they wanted to know who he actually worked for too, because I'm not sure they actually knew exactly who he was. The fact that he was like a police chief from Hawkins or anything, so they didn't know he was law enforcement or anything like that. But they also knew that he was actually he had an accomplice in the form of Joyce Byers too. So then they should even like an actual CCTV picture of her and everything too. So they wanted to know who she was, and then he wouldn't tell her that. So he wouldn't tell them that. So then he had a lot of resistance. He had a lot of good and strong willed resistance to protect Joyce, but also actually not give up any information. But then after that, I think after they realized they wouldn't get anything from him, I think they then actually opted to move him to Kamchatka, which I think that might have been. I vaguely remember the little kind of location title card they gave us in the finale, in the post credit of the season 3 finale. I think that might have been Kamchatka, Russia. So I think that's where that prison settlement there is actually where they're actually keeping the demo to. I think given what else we've seen from him in the trailers and what we know he's going to face from here on out too, I think it wouldn't be totally inaccurate to say that that's where they're keeping the Demogorgon. That's why they talked about it the way they did too. Giving him death would be a mercy. Where he's going is basically hell. So that's what the Demogorgon is. That's where they feed people to. But then also, I'm pretty sure the trailers did also show like an actual gladiator match in like an actual cage where the Demogorgon actually fights like 6 or 7 different other kind of men and everything. So that's where it's where they're actually gonna make him fight the Demogorgon. Actually gonna fight the potentially fight the other men too. So that's what's next in store for him. So that should be fun to see. But yeah, I think so I mean, Murray also made his way over to California too. I think he probably did not have any idea that Mike was going there too. He probably went of his own accord and because Joyce contacted him. But yeah, Murray made his way over to California too, and he helped Joyce kind of decode the message. And then they both had their own theories, and they both had their own ways of understanding the message and understanding the message and understanding the implications of the message and everything. So. But yeah, it's him. It's I think it's Jack and Hagar. I think his name is Jack and Hagar. I think he's the faceless man from Game of Thrones. So he's on that. So I think now he's the Russian Enzo in this. He's the one who works as a prison guard, and he works as a prison guard in Kamchatka too. So he actually works in the more hellish place that Hopper has been sent to, and he's a prison guard. So I think he has the ability to actually get Hopper out and everything. So yeah, I think after realizing this, I think Joyce and Murray's kind of theory was that maybe Hopper bribed the prison guard because that's the kind of thing he would do. But then it's like, would that even? Like, I think not denying that he wouldn't have his ways of doing it, but then also not denying that he would actually do it at all. Then it's like he's in Russia where they're a lot more strict and where they're like a lot less likely. I mean, or at least where it feels like they should and also would be a lot less likely to actually barter or take bribes from criminals or take bribes from prisoners, or whatever. So I think like, and also like taking bribes from like an actual prized American prisoner as well. Like it doesn't really feel like it's something likely to happen. So maybe this guy just kind of likes money, because then he did say like give $40,000 to Yuri in Alaska and everything. So he clearly actually wants that money. I think I don't know exactly how the currency exchange of $40,000 works in Russian rubles, but either way, he wanted the money. He wanted the money, and I think he definitely kind of had he seemed to have the willingness to cooperate too. Like, you did have the money, and then Yuri gets something to me, and then I get your friend to Yuri, and you see him again. So who knows how all of this could actually end up. So I think first they need to find the money, they need to find $40,000, and then take that to Alaska to the fish and fly, to Yuri's fish and fly and everything, and then Yuri gets the money to Russian Enzo, and then Russian Enzo frees Hopper, and but in that time, God knows what Hopper's actually going to go through, and then of course God knows what Murray and Joyce are going to go through as well, actually trying to get the money to Alaska, and actually trying to get the money to free Hopper and everything. So yeah, it should be a wild ride. So I think it would be more interesting to see what Hopper actually does get up to in his time in Kamchatka, and I think if he does get to actually interact with the prison guard beyond just this interaction of like a bribery and everything, to see what actually is motivating the prison guard to do this, to actually kind of go against his own country and to go against his own people and his own kind of laws and everything, to actually kind of break out an American prison and everything. So yeah, I mean, unless he literally is just doing this for the money and he just kind of sees it as like an easy way out or something. But then it's like, I guess actually freeing like an American prisoner, like he can probably get more for it, because then he knows that Hopper isn't meant to be here, but then he was captured by enemies of the state and all that kind of stuff. So then he knows that Hopper would be more prized by the people back home, and he can make easy money that way or something. So I don't know. I guess we'll find out. I guess we'll have to wait and see. So. But yeah, I think for now that is pretty much all I've got. Those are pretty much all the little details I've got, little tidbits and stuff here and there. So yeah, the second episode already, actually kicking things up and continuing this trend of the Vecna being the big new thing and being the deadly new thing, and actively being something you need to be constantly on edge and constantly worried about, because then you never know who else in this town is experiencing trauma or grief, so then anyone could be next, and that means that, assuming that the Vecna recharges by absorbing people and absorbing their eyes and everything, maybe that's how it grows stronger and everything, so need to be very worried about how they move forward and everything. So yeah, I guess we'll see how the story goes. So yeah, that was Stranger Things Season 4, Episode number 2. So thank you guys, as always, so much for being here and for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed it, then feel free to leave a like and comment on what you thought of the episode and what you think is coming up in the future and how you feel about the story so far. For those interested, the full-length reaction will be over on Patreon, so you can go check that out over there. And yeah, that is pretty much it. So until next time, bye bye for now.